Orns, the Talias, the Swains, Gallios, these kind of things. But now Yuekai kind of stepping up, it feels like, in that mid lane to be an answer to the Sylas, and Akali can do relatively well there. You have a good amount of damage post 6. Same thing with Sylas is that he doesn't have a ton of damage levels 1 to 5, so you tend to have a decent matchup as Yuekai to just get to that later point of the game. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is here.
As we get the Gnar on the other side, though, Dagda, maybe baiting themselves to take the Gnar. Ah, okay, all right. TT walking into their own game plan all of a sudden.
Yeah, now I'm curious to see what Zika's going to go for in a response to the Gnar, because it feels like there's a lot of picks that have already been taken off the board, but with the Fiora and the Aurelia gone, like the easier to manage counter picks are already off the board. Viego going to be taken for Beichuan though. So Viego definitely been dipping in priority as the course of the split's gone on, just because his win rate isn't that high. He's not been able to get towards that later portion of the game as easily. But I think when you've got this much frontline and damage, and also just teamfight ability here for TT, it makes sense for the Viego, because these resets for the Jinx, for the Viego, are going to be able to do so much work in these fights.
Which is why, you know, the squishy line as well is going to feel real nice. We get the Gwen as the final pick here for Zika. Knowing what he's going up against in the top lane, wants to take it up against the Gnar. So, Dagda, if it's plain old team fighting for TT, run me through IG again, because you did mention the early game presence is definitely here.
Yeah, for IG, it's more team fighting once more, but they have a lot of options. You can look to try and play some side lanes with the Gwen and the Akali, but you don't have a huge amount of threat. It would be more so about pushing and then trying to collapse on the mid lane. Your team fight is really good as you got the MC Hammer front line. Like, you can't hit Gwen or Xin Zhao, so they're going to be pretty alright. The engage is a bit lacking, is my only problem. Although you can have On try and like fling in Wink to try and get something happening, but they're definitely going to struggle, I think, when it comes towards finding like key picks or key moments to use their advantage in the mid game, unless you end up seeing that TT are just willing to throw themselves into the mix. But a lot of this early game is going to be focused on the mid jungle, because it feels like if you get a lead on either side here, you can snowball that advantage so well.
When we talked about the strength of jungle 2v2s with mid being a priority, it kind of sets up for a perfect game one in the storyline then. Ucal going up against Dagda. Why is my brain not even working today? Why is it completely off? Yuekai. Yeah, that's right. I'm like, oh, it's rookie again. No. We're not that far behind. It does feel like mid matchup going to matter a lot here. So kind of excited to get into this one before we get into our match of the week later on. Because EDG versus V5, that's at another echelon. But IG versus TT is kind of battle for some of the weaklings of playoffs. And, you know, as a broadcaster, you wouldn't really hear this term thrown around. But TT and IG, 2 and 4 for TT, 1 and 6 for IG respectively. If IG lose this series, then I can absolutely double down saying that this team will not be in playoffs once again for this split. TT a bit of gatekeepers right now as 2 and 4. They get a series win here and they move up under the likes of FPX. It's definitely a very real possibility despite their schedule running forward. So it feels like for once TT have the higher ground as Hoya is going to be on the Gnar this time around, and Dagda's not really anything new on the Rift apart from Yuekai picking up an Akali, which is the complete opposite direction that we talked about with Yuekai being such a supportive element to the IG team.
Sorry, I'm very confused as to what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's just a bit of battle brawling, you know? Ever watch the show Bakugan? That's kind of what's going on right now.
Oh, I haven't watched it, but I do know what you're referring to.
The title.
There's certain memories that get unlocked that I just forget exist as a thing. And it's like, you've just unlocked a piece of my memory that I completely forgot was there.
But you know what? It's okay, because I haven't watched the show either, Dagda. I just know that the title music is Hoya and Zika, are we ever going to get to the lane? Boys, just settle down. He's about to go Mega as well. Zika going in on a Mega Gnar, but that's only because he's got his Q available. Looking for the reset. I mean, Zika will take this. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, I guess the action's starting up pretty in every lane as YaoYao flashes away, and that's the support Wink, the double flex man in the bottom lane, forcing that summoner. What a crazy start to this series.
I mean, if this is the way this series wants to go on, I'm totally all right with this. Zika actually as well, just trying to zone Hoya away. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I've learned from IG's bot lane when Wink and On are playing. They only have one direction and it's forward. And it can sometimes work out great. We saw the Amumu get that level 1 kill the last time Wink was playing that support. In the first game, he actually went into the support role. But you do have to be careful when you're on a Renata. Not as tanky as the Amumu, not as many engage tools, and you're kind of on the back foot, I will say, with the matchup in that bottom lane. You're playing the more defensive style with the Renata versus Nautilus.
Yeah, but he doesn't care, it seems, this time around, and you're right. It's always going to be the step forward for these
Wait, are we diving?
Well, Beichuan coming in, though. He's going to negate it, but look at the timing here. Should comes around the corner, ward down. Beichuan sticks around, and IG diving this without their jungler in the mix. Wink has the flush away, ignites down. He's dead. Invictus Gaming's jungler flashes over the wall, and now a reset. The handshake is going to be cleansed, but R's already burnt the flash. Dagda, that just sucked.
Beichuan in the perfect positioning there. That was so well read by Beichuan, because look at his camps. He's clear his bot side. He's backing in that bottom bush because he knows there's the potential for that dive to come through, and it's just perfect timing there. Now Ucal even trying to see if he can be a bit of a nuisance for Shun on the blue buff, but really, really well read by Beichuan to be on that bottom side when that gank was coming through.
The usual's happening in the top side, though. Camera swings back, and what do you know? Hoya versus Zika once again, but that level 2 dive coming through, Dagda. We're going to watch again because Wink and Arn so deep early on, and it's like, oh, well, our position now going to hurt us.
This is such a good gank in general if you don't have the Beichuan in position to shut it down, because you either force them off the tower, they lose that massive wave, and early levels so crucial in this matchup, but you can also get a ton of kills. Because you've got the Renata, you can end up tanking turret for ages, you get the bailout, you're in good shape. But just TT reading that incredibly well, and this is what we're talking about, TT kind of stepping up. We've seen them have these good early games a couple of times. It's been their mid game that has looked a little bit shaky, and now against IG, we have to see if TT can kind of ride this momentum now into a solid mid game.
Well, they've got Kepler in a great position. I mean, that team fighting element well and truly online with a Noon Quiver. YaoYao helping push out the mid lane with a nice little minion dematerializer on the cannon. So Ucal has a much easier time himself. And we've got a gold lead here for TT. Those first 2 kills coming in clutch. A 1k gold lead. And all of a sudden, things feel a little bit bad for IG. Now, Dagda, we did talk about the elements of team fighting as well. What had to get ahead? As we look at one of those elements in Yuekai, he's going to go back onto Ucal, who doesn't have too much mana, but the ignite comes down. You can see Beichuan getting into position. Ucal has enough mana now as he flashes forward for the Kingslayer, and IG have fallen apart again.
I mean, that was a massive mistake from Yuekai. Ucal hits level 5, has 3 stacks in that Kingslayer, so a lot of damage coming off the W, but also a ton of healing as well. So you try to go in aggressive as Yuekai, not respecting the ignite that Ucal's running, and he ends up falling for it. So nice kill there for Ucal. We just get on the replay here, where Ucal goes for it. Yuekai, I think, gets baited by the fact that there's no mana on Ucal, but there's so many stacks of the passive already there, that he's just able to get so much damage off. Then you get a little bit of mana coming through, flash forward with the Kingslayer, and Yuekai falls.
Well, another element falls, and another element's on the board here for TT. The gold lead keeps swinging out, and we've now got a Sylas with a kill. Ucal is level 6 as well, so he'll have the Akali ult, Dagda. And I have to say that a Sylas does Akali better. Let's be real. You have an extra dash, you have the 2 perfect executions now as well. The kill threat just became surreal, and there is an Orb of Oblivion start here for Yuekai out of fear of Kingslayer healing.
Yeah, this is a bit of a double-edged sword in this matchup, because as we said, you can get through the laning phase relatively okay, but the biggest problem is that if you end up falling behind, but now you just have a ton of mobility now for this Sylas to try and keep in check with you. He is a lot more CC, and it definitely becomes a little bit more of an issue. And for TT, honestly, this has been a phenomenal start. The fact that you end up with this much control already in the early stages is just brilliant.
But IG want to contest this dragon, and as Yuekai should come in, they're zoned off by the Chomper's dredge line. Narrowly misses Yuekai, who Shuriken flips out of the way. It's Ucal with the stolen ulti here, who is preparing himself, and free dragon, free early game at this point, it seems. Everything doing well now, apart from that top side that is losing out in CS due to Zika's early resilience.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the fact that you're playing the Jinx into the Kalista matchup, you don't generally see teams being able to pick up the dragon on the Jinx side of this equation because of the amount of power, as you can see with the double ranged support, or sorry, the double range with the range support. This is just TT kind of controlling everything right now, using the fact that Ucal got the solo kill in mid, Kepler got that really good turnaround in bot side, and honestly now I'm starting to worry for IG, because we said that this was a team that needed to hit the mid game of their stride, like being able to use the Kalista, being able to find these moments to get good engages, but when you're behind like this, and you're lacking engage, and you're focused on the mid game, it becomes a lot easier for TT to kind of go, okay, well, we'll just continue using the advantages that we've already got, take this nice and slow, and play for that late game.
As Yuekai's coming back in, I mean, he's got that ulti still there that's going to time out shortly. He wants to use it on Yuekai. But as Rift Herald spawns, Beichuan is just on this objective. Xun and Zika moving around, but you can see the bottom lane's not here. But YaoYao has already made the move as Ucal's going to be engaged on. They've got the Ignite down as well. The Abscond Duck not negated by YaoYao. Nice little ultis. The Dredge Line. Oh, that was clutch. YaoYao. I want to see that again.
Beautiful stuff from YaoYao to keep Akali underneath the tower. Beichuan now trying to come across though. 3v2 in the mid lane. I don't think IG will be able to get anything here, but nicely done from YaoYao to turn around. But Ucal a little bit far up in that lane and gets exploited for us.
Well, I still favor the trade because it was just super clutch as Arm brings in the Fate's Call and Kepler going to deny it with a good set of traps. A double turret shot going down as he flashes out of the way himself. The ulti for the summoner, trade for IG, at least something.
Yeah, nice job from Kepler there to predict where the range was on the Renata to already have the chompers in place. But we just see it here. Ucal trying to go aggressive here on towards Yuekai. Doesn't end up getting much damage at all. Ends up using the Akali ult. I imagine it was just about to time out. But you can see here, gets baited by the fact YaoYao's there. And top side.
I'm not sure. I mean, Zika's got another needlework. Hang on, Beichuan here. Here's Johnny. Zika now will regret this with a huge question mark. I guess not. Dagda, want to see the replay again. How dare we cut the replay off short to see a Gwen pressing the R button versus a Nautilus absolutely chatting on an Akali.
Oh?
Woo!
Oh.
Close.
They
Very
tried,
close.
but Zika actually hadn't even reset yet, so not as close as we were hoping for. But yeah, I agree. I think YaoYao, this is why we were talking about YaoYao coming in, though. Like, YaoYao has been far more willing to start roaming around the map than we've kind of seen from Puff or Southwind. So this is where you can try and bring these things back. It's just unfortunate there that Ucal got caught out by the numbers that IG had in the mid lane. I don't think he's expecting Xun to show up out of the bush, but now TT, you're still in a good spot. You're 4-1, got that gold lead. And now you can also start to get more gold as well in towards Kepler in this bot side with the Rift Herald. Ucal won't have much in the way of pressure, feels like, at the moment to try and make some sort of play in the bot side, but this wave on bot is about to bounce. You've got the wave in mid that's going to bounce as well in a moment. You could always look for some sort of play with Ucal on this bottom side, and it looks like even Beichuan hovering in mid to see if maybe he can help out in Ucal getting that priority.
He's kind of been everywhere this game. It feels like this Viego had really good response maneuvers. You talked about bottom side with counterplay, even being on the Herald at spawn as well. It's Yuekai versus Ucal. Dagda, I said he did it better, but the problem is we don't get to find out because Beichuan's here again. Leave him alone. Ult for ult. Yuekai gets out in the nick of time, and luckily, because Ucal has the Ignite, that Akali could be a very dead Akali if it landed.
Just about able to get away from that. Managing to get that ult through Ucal towards the safety of the tower was pretty clutch. But does mean now that Beichuan has moved down back towards this bottom side. And this is what we're talking about. Ucal now roaming as well. They're looking to set up a play with this Rift Herald.
Drops down. That means Kepler's going to have his mythic item too. Beichuan making this move means topside's exposed, but Hoya's still at the turret. Thinking, nah, they probably won't come in. However, Hoya, you could be wrong on this one. Needlework Part 2, The Reckoning. Needlework Part 3, The Seismic Show.
Wait a second.
Misses. Xun misses. Hoya's getting out. Why is Hoya getting out, Dagda?
Because he's a secret agent, an acrobat, a con artist. I don't know how he managed to get away from that one. I don't know if he can go back towards the turret, though. I know he is about to turn Mega, but
Watch
no
him.
flash, and IG just engaged before he hits turret.
I mean, watch him, Dagda. He said, nah, I'm going back. I don't know how that works as Kepler tries to help out with the Super Mega Death Rocket, but Hoya stays, and the bottom lane
What a
turret.
Chad.
I mean, that stays as well. He's still walking up as a Mega Gnar. I don't know if it's Chad play or if this game has just got me on the edge of my seat, but I know the seat's broken, Dagda. It's just any moment I'm going to fall off it.
Look, I don't want to fall off the hype train of this. This series has actually been delivering already so far, at least in game 1. But Yuekai, now getting the rummed up by YaoYao, but able to back away. I gotta say, like, just to give a quick shout out to this man, because actually I think Beichuan has been really impressive this game. It's fantastic to see how good Beichuan has been with predicting where he's supposed to be, you know, helping out wherever he needs to be going on the map. Especially when you look at, like, Beichuan's kind of trajectory into the LPL. Like, this guy was an Echo one-trick streamer who got picked up for FPX Blaze's LDL team, and then suddenly got thrust into the limelight back in 2021 because he had to come in and step up for TN. He'd only been on the roster like 5 weeks and then had to go and play with the main roster, and now make a play spot side.
Yeah, I mean, that was YaoYao that time, but the Fate's Call was going to be a turn as hostile takeover onto 1 and 2. Kepler getting hit here. 2-man win becomes lightning. A turnover hostile takeover, though. Ucal, you slide devil, as Yuekai gets in the backline with a perfect execution now. Shuriken flip under turret. What was that? Yuekai once again showing us massive question mark plays as Ucal with a flash available onto Wink doesn't choose to take it. It's a bloodthirsty play in the bottom side, but I think TT is still willing to take that trade.
Yeah, 2 for 2 when it comes towards the kills, but as he said, I mean, upgrade in the late game for TT, so they're happy to go even on these plays. Zika and Hoya, look, I've given up on this matchup. This is just going to continue to play out where they poke and prod each other, like attempting to kill each other, but never really getting that satisfaction. So I'm going to just keep focusing on the mid and bot lane, where you're getting these turret plates down, you're getting some kills, and yeah, just a great flash here to go for the engage, but Fate's Call obviously comes through. Yuekai has that first move on, he's able to roam from mid as well because you've got Ucal on the bottom side. And Shun completely caught out here. The fact that he's able to survive for that little bit longer though is key, because it means that Yuekai, while everyone is focused on dealing with Shun, Yuekai can actually dive onto the back line and get some kills back himself. Unfortunate as well that Beichuan doesn't quite get on or get the reset for himself, because that could have been the difference maker.
It could have been so much closer than it was. I'm surprised Yuekai doesn't use the ulti on him to get out, but hey, you know, you want to dive under a turret as Akali, it's kind of like the Lee syndrome. You do the same thing. As we're getting so close. We're getting so close to yet another fight. At least, Dagda, you're right. It is a bloodthirsty one. It is a bit challenging here. A second Herald pops up. Just note that TT, they find this objective. They're going to be on top of all objectives. They might not have the first turret, but they've got the 2 dragons. They picked up the first Herald as well. TT, as you said, set up for this late game of theirs, which just looks so convincing. And this game 1 looks convincing in general with, I'd say, a jungle difference despite Shun having better farm. But, dude, you said it yourself. Beichuan has just been everywhere, and he's put on a bit of a clinic in this first game.
Yeah, now, picking up the second Rift Tower, going to toss it down in the mid lane. You've got members from TT here, but I like, again, how TT are playing this, because it's like, hey, look, we could give this goal to Ucal. Is the Sylas in the late game really going to carry his heaven? No. So instead, we're going to try and give it to Kepler. They did fail miserably at that endeavor, but at least the thought is there, you know? It's the thought that counts. They try to give Kepler a gift, and apparently he didn't get a receipt to return it.
That's true. You just had to live with it. There's no 30-day money back. It's like, it's on a sale here as Ucal versus Yuekai. We're going to dance once again. 2 and 3 on this Akali. But now as a proto belt, maybe makes life a little bit easier as the wave gets pushed up, but no dive to come through. That's because IG feeling saucy in the bottom side, all the vision control under their feet. They know that they can walk down wherever they want. They know that they have pretty good vision, even in the enemy jungle, despite a team that has been losing out on some of these trades, keeping an eye on where Ucal goes.
Okay, dragon in 50 seconds, though. That would be the 3rd dragon for TT. TT even went for the earlier resets, so now they're out on the map. They get to push mid, they can threaten mid tower, establish vision control in river. Like, this was just a really nice reset from TT. And now as IG, you're like, well, we would really like Yuekai and Zika to have some sort of flank angle here. We're not really going to get it because TT already have control of the area. And honestly, on and Wink, on and Yuekai even, very late on the resets.
I'm surprised you're still getting it, you know, the right way around. I still can't get used to Arn being the AD carry and Wink being support. I still can't get used to the fact that it's not Wink and XinLiu. Like, that's what I cast the majority of IG games is, hey, we're setting up for the next dragon. This is going to be a 3rd one at 17 minutes into the game. Beichuan did such a good job of picking it up early with the bottom lane shenanigans that now IG kind of forced into a corner, stuck in the mid lane. Wave threatened out as Yuekai is going to be sitting in here by himself, but how much work can this Akali do, Dagda?
She's going to have to do a lot.
None.
Oh, Shun.
Oh, Shun. Yeah, he's going to get bailed out early. Good Everfrost there from Ucal in the mid lane. That ultimate hits the left-hand side as Hoya tries to jump in. Yuekai with a perfect execution, stolen again. Used on the top lane, and Zika becomes mincemeat. Azan can't get even in the fight. Super Mega Death Rocket almost gets a kill. And IG just going from bad to worse here, Dagda. I can't watch this. It's hard to stomach.
I mean, how you can focus on IG, or just look at how clean TT have been. I know you're an IG fan, so you're definitely going to focus on IG. But I think TT have been playing this incredibly well. Honestly, I think their team fight here was a little bit scrappy, thanks to a really good handshake coming through from Link. You'll see here, just as the ult tries to go through from Hoya, you get handshook from Hoya out of the equation, but already, everything is already a disaster here. Like, they're already on the back foot. Ucal's in the middle of everyone with the Akali ult, so he's dealing a ton of damage. On can't really get into the fight. Shun has already had to run away. So IG, just that engage in the initial point, just gave so much wiggle room for TT to find the success in that fight.
I mean, again, jungle mid seems to be the way we're talking. YaoYao as well gets special mentions to this game so far. And now we've got a 4-minute timeout where IG, they can't just half-ass a fight like that. It's got to be a full-on commitment, because it's in 4 minutes, it will be the Infernal Soul. For a team that values itself on some of these bursts, the setup for the resets, like, it looks good for TT right now. And this is why we're saying that TT at the moment are looking like the better team, Dagda, because, you know, 2 and 4 kind of suits their scoreline. They have looked a lot more improved with Hoya, with Ucal coming in, and they have looked a lot more pieced together than maybe a team like IG, who people would expect more so.
And it means that now for IG, again, you're going to be coming off the first half, you're split with 8 series done, 1 and 7 if you end up losing this series. So we need to see them really pick it up, and
oh no,
not going to be the case right now.
Yeah, Zika, I mean, Ucal probably could have taken him by himself. Beichuan now gets a reset as TP's coming in. That TP hurts. Yuekai in the middle of trouble. Dredgeline denied, thankfully, as Wink once again takes over hostilities. But TT have just punished Invictus Gaming at every single step of the way. Looking so one-sided as they're running for their lives, but YaoYao on the taste.
Oh, yeah.
Dredgeline gonna give him range, and now here comes Hoya on top of the support. Wink will die. A flash over the wall won't save you as an Everfrost abscond abduct. TT find their last member. That is Arn. As Kepler, without the rocket needed, are just smiling with their debut in this series.
At TT, this roster looks so much invigorated, or so reinvigorated, since they added the new members. Like, Hoya has been a spectacular addition to the top side. He's been really strong, going up against Zika in the counter matchup super well. He's, oh, hang on. On?
Okay, Arn's dead. Yeah. What's new?
Oh, God.
What's new this game? Honestly, this is egregious at this point. Like, Yuekai's TP before Dagda, and it's not even being an ex-fan of IG, it's just seeing the quality of these players at the start of the split versus now. Like, what is going on with this team?
Here, look. Sometimes you just got to look at your ex and think, hey, look, at least I'm doing well. You know?
Yeah,
so
that's
you just
right.
kind of look. So you
Look
just
at
got. This is the way you gotta go
Why?
about it. Because yeah, try to overcommit here on bot side to get some sort of tower back, and TT just show up out of the woodwork, and IG are already running for the hills. Like, Zika was like, oh, don't worry, I've got the cavalry here, but no, it's TT who have, and Hoya, great Gnar ultimate there, just to get people away from the blast cone. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, to see Shun flash. Like, you had the blast cone there, they were always going to follow you without having to burn their own flashes, but here we are, TT, 12-3, a 5,000 gold lead, Dragon up for them, the Soul up for them in 1:15. They have full control of the map. This is just a slow burn until they're able to clean. And again, I think this is much cleaner from TT. It's been interesting to see, though, how this has been a kind of a trend with them, is that they try to avoid team fights when they get leads like this. I think because, as we said at the start of the series, I think TT's team fighting hasn't been that spectacular because there's just a lot of moving parts. People aren't exactly on the same page, but when they're able to use this style where they get these leads to look for picks, try and find people that are separated, that's where they look their best.
Yeah, well, that's one of them now. I mean, Zika separated once more as he ults onto the ult, but the Ghost can't be said the same of. 35 seconds until the Dragon. And with that summoner down, expect more to come. IG trying to move in position, but Beichuan is a force of nature and a force of reckoning upon Invictus Gaming. This jungler who's level 12 might be behind in CS against Xun, but has just been everywhere this game. It's been so one-sided despite the goal being close for a while. At least now it's starting to show. 5,000 the difference, and those items going to hurt a lot more when TT now start the Dragon at 22.5 minutes. Welcome the soul, honestly, because IG trying to step towards River is just not working out.
Yeah, I mean, Hoya playing bodyguard, Nerdy got his Mega Gnar there. He just opens up TT to go across this, and IG can't really do particularly much. They had no vision control. They have absolutely no idea as to where TT are, and TT, they're going to look for the hunt here.
Yeah, Hoya with a good setup for the Mega Gnar. Wink is going to flash away in the nick of time, but Hoya burning his own might not be too bad here. TT with Infernal Soul, with a snap of their fingers, and Baron's up too, Dagda. I mean, TT are now going to try and clear vision and just set up for the bait.
Yeah, I feel like TT have already gotten everything that they need to now. So you send Hoya to the bot side, you start to push up mid, you can always then establish vision control on this top side as Hoya threatens the tier 2. And you can see where IG are, like they're trying desperately to keep some hold on the Baron area, but it just opens up Hoya to start decimating this bot lane tier 2.
Hoya is probably going to be fine in the matchup as well. I mean, Yuekai is still without his second item. Hoya here has a little bit of MR there with the Negatron cloak, so does feel like he should be fine. As he pushes up, backs away. TT moves towards Baron, back away, to and fro, and now I guess we can just either wait for the Baron setup, we can wait for the potential, or we wait for an Elder here, Dagda. But I think IG are facing down the barrel of a quicker game. And it just seems to come down to one of those team fights, because you said at the start of draft, when we didn't know how this game would play out, that it was similarities in team fighting in this game, and we know how good TTs can look here with the proper execution in this gold lead.
Yeah, and the fact you've got Zika on bot side means that TT are looking.
And Xun now called out, ulti used, but Everfrost locks him in place. That's the free reset. TT, there's the jungler down. All right, Baron o'clock.
And this is the beauty of being in TT's situation. You just get to do whatever the hell you want. Look for picks. You know, you get to build very defensively because you already have damage with the advantages you've accrued just through levels and everything else. So, I mean, it's so hard for IG to try and come back into this as Wink is dead.
He's face checking. Fate's call on maybe saving his life. It's going to be a no for now, but you took out the ulti. You took out them getting close in range, and Baron's going to go down with it. I will say, though, Zika got turret, so woo, there's that.
Wait a second.
Hey, look at mid. Who's going to die? Is it Wink or Arn, or is it both? Ucal definitely not going to be it, because as Arn runs for his life, Kepler's now here. A reset, a get excited, a death rocket not available, but with the heal, the range is there. A double kill just like that, and it's 15-3 at 25 minutes. This one is dead doo-doo.
Yeah, I would say that was a little bit unfortunate for On. The hostile takeover hits Ucal, but because Ucal's passive, he still gets whacked anyway while Ucal's hitting YaoYao. So it's a bit of a disaster across the board. Hoya now taking the top lane tower on top of this as well. But just see here, Ucal, he's feeling himself this game. As you can see, like he goes in here and he's just wailing on the whole time as well, despite the fact he's hitting YaoYao because of the ultimate. And then Kepler here, nice job dodging the shuriken flip. Pretty quick reactions there as he only just spotted Yuekai. And then with the heal, he kills on. 5-1-5 for Kepler. 5-1-6 for Ucal. Like everyone on across the board on TT is an absolute monster right now.
I think the biggest one is YaoYao, though. I mean, the more I look at it, this Nautilus has had such a good game, and we talked a lot about the support coming in and how much he's been doing for TT, but YaoYao is taking care of business here on this engaged support. The early row mid was devastating. The setups have been so beautiful to watch. And now this Infernal Soul team with almost a 10k gold lead is getting engaged on, but YaoYao here with a good depth charge to buy time. Dredge line out as TP into the backside. TT are going to flank this. And as Zika goes in, Yuekai with a full commit as well. Hoya might not have Mega Gnar, but they're in such a bad position with Ucal. Taking away the ulti. He's going to set up with the perfect execution as Arn is the next target. Look at him go. Oh, IG, you thought you had the angle, but you know, TT suddenly bringing their solo laners, and with an even match, it all goes down the bin again. Yuekai watches his team burns, and TT watches the map burns in their favor.
Yeah, well, you're going to move mid to take mid tower. The bot inhibitor turret is going to fall to Beichuan and Ucal. And with only Yuekai here, what the hell do you do? Akali can't wave clear against the Baron up TT. And it's just, again, this slow, methodical play from TT to close this one out. Do you have to be a little bit nervous for TT, just with Elder Dragon coming up? Maybe IG steal it, maybe they get some sort of miracle fight where they can win off of it, but as long as TT continue to play as clean as they have and not give IG any sort of movement on the map, they're going to be able to clean this one, or close this one out cleanly.
Oh yeah, you'd think so. I mean, double inhibitor gone as well, that pressure going to be there during the dragon spawning. But we'll look again because Dagda, a deep push here for a deep TP in response. IG thought they could get the pick.
Yeah, IG TPing in quicker puts Zika into a really good position here, which is why you kind of see TT scrambling, but Hoya and Ucal in a good spot. Kepler as well, pretty much untouched this whole fight, so he's going to be totally fine. And everyone is disintegrating on IG side to Ucal and Hoya. And Kepler will end up falling in the end, but he ends up buying so much time that they're just easily able to clean out everyone at IG. Except
watching Ucal and the Sylas is huge. I mean, it's just been such an easy game for him as we come back, we look at the damage. Yeah, everyone's fed. Not a real news story here, but hey, 30 seconds till the dragon. IG are moving to the bottom side, but TT are here too, and there's so much deeper in. Xun didn't back. He cancelled the back, and look, Dagda. Now with the jungle gone, yeah, a good back for 45 seconds to think on his sins. Hey, Ucal's taken on the team. He's out with the perfect execution, but Yuekai followed. I mean, Yuekai following that, the ultimate comes through from Wink, but IG, you can't be here. Hoya going golden as its God of Duck doesn't connect. That's a reset for Beichuan. Wink and Arn are going to be in a lot of trouble as Yuekai can only go forward. Kepler gets his resets, and you don't even need the Elder at this point. 29 minutes. IG have been completely routed. This ain't the team that the droids have been looking for. And as TT find a game one as simple as that, you got to hope that this team right now is looking like a potential playoff runner in the long term.
I have to see TT. That was pretty damn clean. We have to kind of see if they can pick up back-to-back W's to match the TT, but honestly, that was spectacular. Great early game control. Beichuan dictating the pace of that jungle matchup, reading Xun like a book in that early dive. Ucal stepping up massively with solo kills onto Yuekai in the mid lane. Like, this was just TT everywhere controlling the map, and this is exactly what I wanted to see from TT. Like, when you get people like Ucal coming across, when you're adding Hoya into the roster as well, you want to see this team step up, and we're actually getting it now.
Yeah, we are. There's a lot of good stuff to say about TT. I think holistically, like how the unit moves together is quite impressive. Beichuan is fitting in nicely. Like, obviously, TT just want us to get to Match of the Week faster. They want us to get to EDG V5. They're there for the fans. Because IG, I mean, that was Dagda. Like, I take away from anything I've ever felt with this team. The TP play, the dive under turret, like, the strength of Yuekai is not on something like an Akali. It's on a Galio. It's on setup. Xun is the carry piece of this team. And when he's on the Xin Zhao, like, what do you say about IG's identity when this whole draft screams the complete opposite from how they played it to start to finish?
I love how your camera keeps going in and out of focus as you mauled.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much better. But yeah. I agree. It hasn't been so hot for IG. And again, I don't think of Yuekai as this guy who's super strong, good at carry from the mid lane. We already talked about it. He's a facilitator. Like, he wants his sets, his Orans, his Renekton's, his all these weird picks that he can actually just kind of like set up for Xun to actually be a carry. And that's the way IG's identity is kind of worked out. But you could see it in this game where Xun not really able to have an impact because of that initial dive. You don't really have that fallback plan of trying to play around Yuekai in the mid lane because you've just got the stronger mid jungle now between Beichuan and Ucal. And honestly, IG, it looks like they don't know how they want to play the game anymore. I mean, swapping in XinLiu, Wink, on, trying to figure out what the hell is going on with their support in the bottom lane. Yuekai now trying out new things. And as we said, if you lose this series, you're now 1-7 on the first half of your split. Like, there's very little room for you to come back.
I was so sure about FPX at the start of the season not being a playoff team, but I think I'm going to change my absolute assurity to an expected outlier, potential playoff team to IG, right? Because this team is not making it anywhere nearby at the moment. Xun gets 100% kill participation, but there was only 5 kills in the end. A 29-minute game, a slaughter from TT. All I can say is that Beichuan is a good fit, but I think more importantly, Ucal's kind of woken up Dagda. Last split, he was not good at all. He didn't fit in the league
Even the
whatsoever.
start of this split.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now suddenly Ucal's like, hey, I'm the Ucal we all know and love. So good to see him. At the very least, hopefully that